So if you want to know all that we know about the Moto Z2 lineup, you've come to the right place. Lenovo is expected to announce the next Moto Z generation very soon, and we've come across a bunch of rumors regarding the Moto Z2, the Moto Z2 Force, and the Moto Z2 Play, which is all rounded up in one show. Now for you spec-hungry geeks out there, as a flagship, the Moto Z2 will obviously sport high-end specs. Just like its predecessor, it is expected to feature a 5.5-inch display with QHD resolution. We doubt that the smartphone will have a screen smaller than last year's Moto Z, while increasing its size probably isn't a great option as it would push into the phablet category. The Moto Z2 will be powered by the latest Snapdragon 835 chipset and will have 4GB or maybe even 6GB of RAM. You'll find a fingerprint scanner below the screen with support for various swiping gestures, like the ones already seen on the Moto G5 series. We expect to see big changes in the camera department, as the device will have a dual camera setup on the back. According to well-known leaker Ricciolo, Lenovo will opt for a lower megapixel count and larger pixels this year, which means that the camera should perform better in low-light conditions. No word on the front-facing camera so far, aside from the fact that it will have LED flash. When it comes to software, the Moto Z2 will ship with Android 7.1.1 Nougat. As usual, the company will add its own user interface on top that doesn't change the look and feel of the OS too much. It's pretty close to stock Android, which is something a lot of users have come to welcome from Motorola. As expected, the Moto Z2 Force will be quite similar to the Z2 in terms of specs. Like last year, we expect to see three differences. The first is the camera, which might offer more megapixels and should perform a little bit better. The second change is a larger battery, while the third is the Shatter Shield display, which shouldn't crack easily when you drop the phone on the ground, for example. The Moto Z2 Play, on the other hand, will offer mid-range specs. According to Evan Blass, the smartphone will have a 5.5-inch display with Full HD resolution and will be powered by the Snapdragon 626 chipset running at 2.2 GHz. Other specs include 4GB of RAM, 32GB of onboard storage, a fingerprint scanner, and a 12-megapixel primary camera with dual autofocus, and a selfie snapper with 5-megapixel sensor. Sadly, the Z2 Play will pack a smaller battery than its predecessor. Lenovo has confirmed that the device will feature a 3,000 mAh battery, whereas the one found in the Z Play, the original, had a capacity of 3,510 mAh. This means that the upcoming smartphone will be likely thinner as well as lighter. Back in April, we obtained renders of a 360-degree video of the upcoming Moto Z2 Force in collaboration with OnLeaks. The smartphone looks quite similar to its predecessor with a few minor exceptions. These include the dual camera setup on the back, more rounded edges, and a redesigned fingerprint scanner below the screen. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Come on, Jace, talk to me about price and release dates. Now, there's no official word on the price yet, but if we look to history, when launched, Verizon sold the Moto Z for $624, while the Moto Z Force was available for $720. The unlocked version of the Moto Z, which was released on a later date, was initially priced at $699. The Moto Z Play was obviously more affordable, as you only had to dish out $449 to get it. Now, our educated guess is that prices will either be the same or maybe even a little bit less. Now, when it comes to release dates, our best guess is that it will be sometime in July, with unlocked versions coming at a later date, just like last year. What we do know is that unlike its predecessor, the Moto Z2 Force won't be exclusive to Verizon. According to Evan Blass, you'll be able to get the smartphone from T-Mobile and maybe even Sprint and other carriers at launch. If true, this means that other two smartphones, the Z2 and the Z2 Play, will also likely be available from multiple carriers. I gotta tell you, if these renders are accurate, they look pretty good. I like them a lot. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below or on Twitterverse. Now, if you are a developer or an aspiring developer, code is your world. You create it, tweak it, and lovingly obsess over it, so picking the right repository management tool is super important. That's why our sponsor at Atlassian created Bitbucket. Bitbucket is the Git solution for professional teams helping over 5 million developers build with a purpose. Bitbucket gives teams of all sizes free private repositories with state-of-the-art features like the world's best pull request algorithm, built-in continuous delivery, and integrations with your favorite tools like Docker, AWS, and Azure. And because Bitbucket comes from Atlassian, you get the best Jira integration available. Bitbucket is for the code that takes us to Mars, decodes the human genome, or drives your next car. Visit bitbucket.org/for the code to start your free account. That's bitbucket.org/for the code. Try Bitbucket today. What will your code do?